It's time for another Dice Tower review with Z Garcia.
Hey everybody, today I am taking a look at a two-player card drafting game called Tides of Madness. Tides of Madness is a micro game. It has just 18 cards, and it is a follow-up / reworking of Tides of Time. However, in Tides of Madness, you have a whole new issue to contend with, and that is you're not only attempting to score the most points throughout the game and win, but you are trying not to go mad. You see, in this one, you are dealing with Elder Gods, and when you're dealing with Elder Gods, madness is always an issue, an imminent problem. So let me give you a look at what's in this game, how it works, and then I'll tell you what I think of it, and if I think it's something you should look at, especially if you are familiar with Tides of Time. Here we go. So here's everything that comes with the game. You are going to get some cards. I've already gone ahead and dealt some to each player. You're going to get these Madness tokens, a score pad, and a pencil as well. So I'll just move these out of the way for now so I can show you the game. The game's going to be played over 3 rounds, and the objective of the game is to win by either getting the most points at the end of those 3 rounds or having your opponent go insane, because at the end of any one round, they have 9 or more of these Madness tokens, okay? And so I've dealt 5 to each player, set the other cards aside, we're ready to begin. Each player is quite simply going to take a look at their cards, and they are going to pick one card, they're going to select it face down, both players will then reveal the card simultaneously, and pass the remaining cards to the other player, receiving their cards, and then continuing to draft until you've drafted all 5 of those cards, okay? Once that's done, and so each player has, 5 cards in front of them, then each player is going to pick them all up, okay? Pick all 5 of these cards up. They are going to pick one of those 5 that they are going to keep for the rest of the game, and so you can lock one in place. And then you are going to select one that is going to go out of the game completely, and then you'll be given 2 new cards from the deck, bringing you back up to 5, and we will again draft. That's the second round, and at the end of that round, obviously, you'll have 6 cards, 5 plus the 1 you kept. You'll do it again at the end of that round, meaning you'll have 7 cards after that one, and then once you've done 3 rounds, game's over, you figure out if you've won the game by, again, scoring. So let's get a little bit more in depth as far as what these cards do. Each card is going to have a symbol in the corner. That is the kind of card it itself is. And then most of them will have a scoring opportunity over here on the side. So for example, this one tells you if you have the majority of that symbol there, you gain 7 victory points. They also have one other feature, which is over here on the side, they might have the tentacle madness symbol, or they might not have it. When you draft these kinds of cards, you are going to gain the madness symbols here, the tokens, and so that's another thing you need to think about. And that's basically it. So on my turn, I might say keep this card here, and then my opponent, let's say, kept that one. I have a madness, I'll take that. They get my hand, I get theirs, and now I'll look at this, and I know because of this, I'm trying to keep green cards. It's too bad they kept one already, so I'm going to be quite possibly not able to win that. I want to have the majority in those book symbols. So I'll take a look at this, I'll see if anything works with this symbol here, so I might keep that card, because it says if I have the majority in that symbol there, the purple symbol, then I'm going to get 7, and I already have 1, so I might keep this one. However, I'm now looking, I already have one of the madness, and if I keep this card, I will immediately get another one, so I have to debate if I want to do that, okay? Once this is all done and we get to the scoring, however, whoever does have the most madness is going to get a choice. You can either get 4 victory points on top of whatever you're able to score by taking a look at these conditions, or you can get rid of one. So if you have the most, you can get rid of one or score some victory points, and maybe even, do that every round. As long as you don't bust, go over what you cannot, the limit, and then you just outright lose the game. That's basically it. You are going to go through all cards at the end of the third round. And again, if no one has lost from going insane, figure out who's got the most victory points, and that person is the winner of the whole thing. Let me give you a quick close-up look at these cards, both so that you can see the artwork and so you can check out the powers on them. There's a series of these that say for each whatever you gain 3 victory points. And there are several of those, of course, one for each of the symbols. And so there you have it. And then after this, there are, and this one is for each madness. So that one is slightly different. And then these are for majorities. And so if you have the most of whatever the symbol shown there is, you are going to get the 7 victory points, as you can see. And then you have some specific sets. So in this one, blue-green will get you that. That set of 3 will get you 9. And that set of each one basically gets you 13. And then some slightly different ones, some funky stuff like this one for each suit you don't have. You're going to get some victory points. For each majority you have, and it has to be more than the opponent, not the same. Ties will not do it. This one here doesn't have a suit. It's a wild suit, rather. And then you're going to take an additional madness token from the opponent at the end of the round, which is when you actually get madness token. You don't collect it as you go. You get it all at the end of the round, and you'll take one from the opponent as well if you played this card. And then this one doubles the number of victory points you would get from the card you previously played right before this one. So what you do is you just, you grab a card. Let's say this was the card I just played. And then if I played this one after, I'll just put it on top like that. And that reminds me that if I win the blue majority, I'm going to get 14 points, not 7. So pretty cool stuff. And that's basically it. That is all the cards in the game. And I'll give you a nice close-up look at those tokens as well, which are very neat. But that's it. So there you have it. I was already a big fan of Tides of Time. I think it's a very interesting game with a great look to the whole thing. Quick gameplay, interesting decisions, especially considering the whole thing's only 18 cards. And I think Tides of Madness makes the theme a little bit more interesting, though it's still very thin. It's just 18 cards. The symbols are just necessary. So the theme, really in both of them, is barely there. But I like Cthulhu-themed games, and so I like it. It does not bother me. And I think the new mechanisms that this game introduces are very cool and add another level of strategy, a new thing to worry about when you are playing the game. You have to consider now a whole different thing when you are drafting cards. Is it a safe draft to take that one card that's going to give you another madness when you do have more madness than your opponent? Do you then get the victory points? Or do you give up the token, keeping you at that safe range? You have to remember that you might be forced by your opponent to take some. So how much can you have before you go into the next round's draft? How much is safe? The whole thing is very interesting, and I've seen it being won both ways, where you can win by points, or the opponent goes insane, and so you win anyway. Very cool 2-player game. I highly recommend it. If you are a fan of the original, then definitely get this. I think you're going to really like it. And if you never got around to playing this one, but you like the Cthulhu theme, or you maybe were not drawn to it because you thought that sounds really, really simple, well, this one's still really simple. But there is then one, extra thing in there to make you think about something else. So, big thumbs up from me. Very cool card game in this one, and that is, of course, Tides of Madness. Check it out.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.